Hello again. Welcome back. Today we are starting a new part of the biology unit. We're going to do the second half of the biology unit. Before we were worrying more about cells and cell divisions and parts of cells, DNA, genetics, things like that, a little bit getting into that. And now we're going to be getting into human reproduction and really going deep into genetics and things like that. So it's a pretty fun unit, and I think you'll enjoy it. So the first thing you need to know is that you need to pick this package up right here. You can see here, BioPack 2. You're going to need to get that. Now, the packs are available in the office, and you can call the school and arrange a time to pick it up, I believe, but please call first, and they'll be waiting there. It's a big one, but lots of work in it. So, the first lesson today is just going to be an overview of human reproduction. The next two lessons will be a more detailed section of male reproduction and then female reproduction. So today we're just going to do a general overview. So this is lesson 17, and it's just an overview of human reproduction. So I'll put those slides up right here. There we go. So the human reproduction system. Here we go. Let's take a look. Oh, and of course, your assignment for this slide set is to take any notes that I take and put them on the paper and send pictures of the notes that I've added to the slides. I'm not going to get you to copy out slides, but you're going to have to annotate them. Annotate means write notes in the margin, and that's your assignment for lesson 17 is annotating what I annotate. There might not be a lot today, but that's okay. Send it in, send a picture of what you've done, and you'll get the mark for it just to show that you've been keeping up with the videos and with the class. So here we are. The time when a person can reproduce is known as puberty. During puberty, hormones are released that start the production of male and female sex hormones by the reproductive organs. Now, we're going to go into a lot of detail for that. Now, there's male hormones and female hormones. And let's just do a little bit of a note right here. We're just going to write testosterone, estrogen, and all right? Now, you might not know what that means yet, but just so you know that men and women have different sex hormones. The reproductive organs and the body of the young person then mature until physical, mental, and emotional maturity is reached. Lots of jokes about emotional and mental maturity with puberty, but I won't make those today. The first external sign is the appearance of body hair and breasts in females. Now let's move on to the second slide. Sex cells. Now this is something we've actually talked about before. We talked about gametes, right? We did a lot of this. Now the sex cells, we talked about how they're made. Remember, sex cells are made through meiosis. So sex cells are sperm and egg, and we know how sperm and eggs are made now, right? They go through meiosis as opposed to mitosis. Sperm are produced in the testes in males. Testes each contain over 200 million thread-like tubes which produce sperm. Sperm are constantly formed in the male after puberty. Now, that's something that should be noted, right? Millions versus one at a time, right? So the sperm, which we'll learn about after, but this is going to be something that you're going to see in an assignment later on, right? You're going to have to compare general ideas of the male reproductive system with general ideas of the female reproductive system. So there's one, right? Female reproductive system, mostly internal. Male reproductive system, mostly outside of the main body cavity. Another difference would be that the male reproductive system produces millions of sex cells, whereas the female reproductive system produces one or two at a time or very few over the course of a lifetime. So there's some big differences you're starting to see there, right? Eggs are produced usually one at a time by two ovaries in the body of a female. An ovary releases one egg into a tube called the oviduct or fallopian tube. The egg moves along the oviduct to the uterus where it can be fertilized by a sperm or released during menstruation. Now, don't worry about that yet. We'll go into more detail about the path that this egg takes along the fallopian tube, where it needs to be fertilized, if it's fertilized, what it has to do next. That'll be in the female reproductive system section. So there's a lot of information there, but trust me, we're going to get into it a little bit later. Most humans experience the effects of reproductive hormones in their early to mid-teens. This is called puberty. When puberty begins, the pituitary gland at the base of the brain begins to create follicle-stimulating hormone. Now, this is cool. So how this works is you would think that, oh, whatever gland makes hormones in a man, it would just make testosterone, and in a female, that gland would just make estrogen and progesterone. No. Both male and female in the pituitary gland at the base of their brain make something called follicle-stimulating hormone. And that hormone goes through the body, and it reaches the testes and the ovaries, and then those parts of the body make testosterone or estrogen and progesterone. So in men and women, they both make follicle-stimulating hormones. So let's write that down. I would say both in male and female. That's important to know. Men and women both make follicle-stimulating hormone, and what that hormone tells men's bodies to do is different than what it tells women's bodies to do. Follicle-stimulating hormone travels to the gonads and ovaries. Gonads is just another word for testes or testicles, and ovaries, and signals them to start producing mature sex cells, sperm and eggs. So that hormone gets released. It hits the ovaries, make eggs, hits the testes, make sperm. So that hormone triggers different things in men and women. All right. Puberty in males. When follicle-stimulating hormone reaches the testes, it promotes the development of sperm, which is the male reproductive cell. Once the development of sperm is started, males develop sperm on a daily basis. Very different than women. Other cells in the testes produce testosterone. Testosterone produces deeper voices, facial hair, armpit hair, pubic hair, and the broadening of shoulders. Pretty straightforward. Anything that's really important to highlight there? I would say we're pretty good. I think you would understand that. And in females, puberty in females, when follicle-stimulating hormone reaches the ovaries, it promotes the maturing and release of eggs. So FSH in men produce sperm, FSH in women produce eggs. Generally, one egg is released every month. Estrogen is a reproductive hormone. It also produces secondary sex characteristics such as deposits of fat in the breast and hips and growth of pubic and underarm hair. All right, now that is the first video. So that's just a general overview. The things to really take away is that men produce lots of sex cells daily. Women produce one a month, right, that is ready to be fertilized. In both men and women, we both release follicle-stimulating hormone in puberty, but that hormone hits the testes in men and tells it to make sperm, whereas that hormone in the bloodstream hits the ovaries in women and tells them to start producing eggs. We'll be back and we'll be looking at the male reproductive system. It's quite a bit of work, same with the female one. It's the core of how this whole unit is kind of started, so these first couple lessons are important. Your assignment for today is to just take a picture of the notes that we did, which is only a couple notes, so you get full marks if you send it in to me. So we'll be seeing you soon, and we'll be looking at the male reproductive system next, and then the female reproductive system. So this was lesson 17. We'll see you soon.